It's Monday, April 22nd, Tuesday, April 23rd. If you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under, and this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great weekend and a Monday that cannot compare to others. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North on top of the melting mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, which is currently under construction. Brand new look coming in a couple of short weeks. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Insuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Insuho banner, and subscribe today. Tonight we are talking about the ghosts of Route 66. Known as one of the most haunted highways in the United States, Route 66 has seen its fair share of hauntings and deaths from coast to coast. Looking into this haunted highway is Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media. Mike is an Amazon best-selling mystery author with 2 entries to his Chase Michael DeBarlow private detective series, Deadly Heirs and System of the Dead. With over 20 years of investigative experience, Mike serves as a paranormal investigator and ghostorian, along with his partner Shana with the Society of the Haunted. And they regularly travel to speak at paranormal conferences, writing on the subject and spreading the word to as many people as they could get in front of. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the news from the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mike Ricksecker, it's been a while since we had you on the show, my friend, but I'm always excited when you are on with us. How you been?
I've been doing pretty well, Dave. Thanks again for having me on. Always a pleasure to be here.
It's always a pleasure to have you here as well. Now, Mike, our audience has changed since the last time you were on. We've expanded it a little bit, so we welcome you to the bigger family that we are now. But in looking at everything that you have gone through for your life, I'd like you to reintroduce your story on how you got involved with the paranormal and why you have become self-titled The Ghostorian.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my paranormal story started when I was fairly young. My first real significant experience happened when I was about 8 or 9 years old. Woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a shadow person standing in the corner of my bedroom. And what's quite different about this story than many others you may hear is that this shadow person, of course, I didn't know it was a shadow person at the time. I was very young. I was just thinking there was an intruder in my room and, it was going to come kill me. Of course, that didn't happen. I'm still here today. But what it did is it approached my bed, leaned over, crossed my arms across my body, and then ran off down the hall. So I actually had a physical altercation with this shadow person. Of course, I found my legs, ran up, screaming to my parents. And, they tried to console me, told me that I just had a bad dream. But I was awake for the entire thing. When I was a little bit older, we had moved from that house. It was a house in Massachusetts, moved to Ohio. And when we moved into that particular house there, it also had a shadow person, but a little bit different. So as I was unpacking and putting things away, I kept seeing something out of the corner of my eye. And every time I turned to look, it would dart away into the hall. And so I asked my mother about it this time, a little bit older now, I'm 13 years old. And she did admit at that age that, yes, she was seeing it too. So I started calling this thing Tom, as in, like, peeping Tom. I was reading some Hans Sulzer at the time. And my first real paranormal investigation was as a 15-year-old. Of course, back then, it was right at 1990, early 1990. And I really didn't understand what a paranormal investigation was. There weren't any of the shows on there. On TV or anything like that. Basically, all you really had was In Search Of, if you might have caught a rerun or something like that. So we went into this house it was a friend of ours, and she started talking about how she thought her house was haunted, that every time that she would go into her bedroom and tack something on the wall, we're teenagers, so tacking posters and things like that, they would always fall down off the wall, whether it was a couple couple hours, couple days, couple weeks, it always fall down off the wall. So this is what we did. Is we went up there and we were testing this and putting things up on the wall. And my friend David that was with me, I didn't know this about him at the time, but he was very sensitive. And so he actually decided to put his hand flat against the wall. And what I saw from my friend was very bizarre. He just turned bright red and started sweating profusely because he had touched this wall. He started shaking a little bit. And I'd never seen this of him before. Like I said, I had no idea that he was a sensitive. And so he started to go around the entire house, touching the walls and trying to find the hot spots. And it was right about then that I knew that somehow, some way, shape, or form, that I was going to be involved with this for the rest of my life. Now, where the ghostorian part of it comes into play is I've always been a writer. I've been writing since I was about 7 years old, ever since I could put, compound sentences together. Had a great love of mystery stories when I was really young. If anybody remembers the Encyclopedia Brown books, I really loved those as a young child, tried to mimic those, wrote little ghost stories. And if you can imagine this, as a 7-year-old, I was also writing historic fiction. And so with the ghostorian, that's basically ghost historian put together. And so as I became a paranormal investigator, got older, and my writing turned more from mystery into chronicling the different paranormal investigations and also the significant historical research that I do at many of these locations, it just seemed to really gel together, ghost historian. So ghostorian.
Mike, when you look at the entire paranormal field, you really blend history with the paranormal, and not many people are actually out there trying to do that. Why is it important to learn the history through the spirits themselves?
Well, that's their story. That's who these people are. With a lot of these spirits that are out there, their story's been lost to time, and they're trying to communicate with us, give some sort of message as to, hey, remember me, I'm here. As far as paranormal investigations, I've seen many times where having that history going into these different haunted locations, that you can actually use that history as a trigger object. That is, if you know part of their story, that you can relate to them a little bit better. To me, it's the difference between, showing up on the front door or the front step of somebody's front door and just being a salesman, knocking on the door, hey, I'm here to sell something, and actually having a legitimate piece of information to start a conversation with. I almost relate it back to the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, where, if you know one little tidbit of information about a person, you can start an entire conversation with that little bit of information. And so that's getting to know the spirit themselves. And through learning more about that spirit, learning more about the location, you can build that story. And basically, our lives, our history are all a collection of stories. I say a lot that I believe that the best history teachers are storytellers, not the guys that just stand up there and give you, names and dates of people who lived and died and when wars were and all that. No, it's stories of those people, and that's when you actually remember those things.
20 years you've been doing this now, and in those 20 years, what has shocked you?
What has shocked me? I think what has really shocked me over all these years is how we've evolved from really trying to learn more about these spirits, about the people that were there, about trying to help perhaps the residents of maybe it's a haunted house, or answering some questions for those that are operating a haunted location. And now we're geared more toward being flashy and being fancy and trying to have the most views on a video out there, or trying to get on television. It's more become about the pop culture aspect of it all, rather than where we started, which was trying to help people.
How much has that affected what we do in the paranormal? the popularity of television and the draw that a lot of people have, Mike, to think that they are going to be the next Jason Hawes or Zach Bagans?
Yeah, at the beginning, I think it was a good thing, because for decades, post-spiritualism movement, because spiritualism movement kind of back in the 1800s kind of opened the doors for people to explore that realm. But somewhere in the 20th century, we kind of closed those doors again. And if you mentioned anything about ghost spirits, hearing voices, anything like that, you'd be locked up and they'd throw away the key. And when popular culture took over and those shows started coming on TV, it opened people up again to this idea that, hey, there are other people out there that are having these experiences. And I think the internet did a good job of that as well at first. Because, like with my own experiences, I was in a smaller town. I'd go to the library and they had maybe one or two books on the subject, and I was having these different experiences. And so tapping into the internet and finding, the old bulletin boards, the old forums, when Yahoo groups came out, I could connect with people and discover that other people were having these experiences, and we could share those experiences together. So I think originally those television shows opened the conversation for people and made them feel a little bit more comfortable in talking about their experiences. But these days, it's escalated to the point of now everything has to be a demon. Now everything has to, we have to have objects flying across the room all the time, or the different jump scares and screaming and, all this nonsense that has nothing to do with actually investigating, because it supposedly makes for great television.
How about in the field? What have you seen in the last 20 years that has changed in the field? Is it the technology, the amount of people, the reaction? And the reason why I asked that is we were talking with Brian D. Parsons the other night, and one of the things that he had mentioned and in our conversation was the fact that a lot of people have forgotten how to use their intuition.
Yeah,
and their own feelings. And their own feelings because of the addiction to technology. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I like to say that the best tool that we have on an investigation are our own bodies and using your own senses within that investigation. But you're right that there is, and I'm all for testing technology, introduce different items and see what we might be able to pick up or get. I'm fine with that, but I think we become too reliant on it. Any of these gadgets, we try to say that we're trying to take a scientific approach, and really it is so difficult to try to prove a haunting scientifically because of the problem of having a control object during your scientific tests. You almost can't have it unless you get extremely, extremely specific in your test. I think a lot of people do just become very too reliant on, we're going to have a ghost box, and they just immediately go to that. We're going to turn on this machine that's cycling through a bunch of radio stations and try to listen for, these bits and snippets of voices popping through, and that becomes their investigation. And a lot of the investigation videos that you find on YouTube, especially a lot of live ones, that's the go-to because it's instant. It gives that idea of a instantaneous response, and it's that idea of, we got to have it now. I don't adhere to that. A lot of our paranormal investigation videos that we post, some of them you could say are downright boring because not a lot happens. But we're trying to keep true to the investigation. So, like I said, I'm all for trying different pieces of technology, but don't become too self-reliant on it. I think you lose yourself there.
Is technology going to be the biggest benefit to paranormal investigation, trying to solve some of these mysteries, or is it going to be the biggest hindrance?
I think right now it's becoming a hindrance because we are becoming too reliant on that. And if you're trying to sway the opinion of a skeptic, those gadgets aren't going to sway their opinion. And it's difficult because with the skeptic also, you try to tell them, well, go by your feelings, and they're not going to believe that either. It's very difficult. This position. You have a piece of video footage, and you almost have to put the person in the situation themselves because, of course, you throw a piece of video footage out there, and they have every way till Sunday to try to say, well, there's special effects, something was photoshopped, what have you. So it really, to me, comes down to, can you trust the person that is capturing this, that they're not trying to pull your leg? A lot of skeptics are going to say no, that they don't trust. And it's unfortunate, but we're kind of stuck in a rut, I think, right now. Waiting for that next, that next piece of evolution to take us to the next level. I don't know when we may find that. I'd hope sooner rather than later. But I think we're almost getting stuck in a rut right now.
You mentioned that in paranormal investigation, we're in a rut right now. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's one of those where we have the same pieces of technology that we're using. We have the same places that we're going to. It's just go running through YouTube for a little while, and almost all the videos they're almost all the same. There might be a couple of different locations, but they're almost all the same locations, and the same is true of our videos. We're always using the same equipment. There may be some little gadget we may try or throw in there, and this is where I take it back to the stories, where I think those stories are more interesting than the group of us running around with a bunch of devices and trying to say, well, this went off, maybe we got something. I think the stories are more interesting, and that's where we find that next leg up. Because all the devices are saying, well, this went off, that went off. We got this EVP. Half the EVPs are get out. So there's almost nothing new within all of that.
I've never really used a ghost box. And this past weekend, we had our first ghost tour of the season that I do to help raise money for the local museum. And I had this young lady on. She's probably 19, 20 years old. And she was kind of freaked out a little bit, got the heebie-jeebies. And she mentioned how she could be a little bit of a bee earlier on. And I'm using B as the letter B and not the animal B. Anyways, later on in the tour, we are in the main house, which we call the McNeil house, and I turn the ghost box on, and clear as day, she starts pulling a little bit of young attitude, and through the ghost box, you hear this male voice say the B word to her. And her jaw dropped, and her mouth opened, and she's like, how does this guy know me? It was quite entertaining. But the thing that I like about up here, Mike, is when we use the ghost box, there is one radio station that comes in clear here. One, even at night. One FM, one AM, because the mountains are so high that a lot of radio signal doesn't reach up in this area. And so it's kind of interesting to see how it works. But I'll tell you, I was pretty shocked that came out.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So I actually don't use the ghost box. And that's good that you clarified that you only get one clear radio station there. Because to me, 99% of what people are getting off the ghost box I can throw out. I believe that they can speak through the white noise, that you can get spirit voices through the white noise. But when it comes to the actual radio signal that's coming through there, I don't believe ghosts speak in radio. And for that receiver to be able to pick up on a voice and then basically translate it through the mechanism in there to come through the speaker, it has to pick that up as a radio signal. And I don't believe ghosts speak in radio. We actually had an entire show on our channel about how radio works and how Ghostbox works and all that. So it's a device I just simply don't use. I mean, one, they give me a headache, but I may as well just use a white noise generator, because I believe they can come through the white noise, because then it's just an electrical signal coming through that speaker. But as far as like the little snippets of bits of radio, I don't think those are actual ghost voices. But if that came through the white noise, and I've heard some interesting bits of evidence from people.
Interesting.
Another one, they were sitting there using the ghost box, and the voice came across as almost like a disembodied voice, like it wasn't coming through the ghost box at all, but another voice within the room. So I was like, okay, that was a little bit different.
We got about 60 seconds left with you before we got to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Mike Ricksecker is our guest tonight, talking Route 66 ghosts, and we're going to get into that with you. Mike, in about 30 seconds, can you kind of take us through your average day in the paranormal? How often are you investigating?
We try to investigate at least once a week. It depends on how the month goes, because we have a lot going on with the publishing side of our industry that we have going on the publishing side of our company, and then the video production. But we try to get out there once a week, and whether it's an investigation or we're doing research, or maybe we're getting out to a local cemetery or one of the historic societies, we're out there a lot, and throughout the week we're doing everything else to prepare for that other day.
Well, on that note, Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, award-winning paranormal author. Definitely want to check his work out on Amazon. Website, MikeRicksecker.com, if you want to check it on out. We'll be back with Route 66. Are you ready? Let's find out how haunted it is right after this.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Remember, if you want to check out all of our archives, or if you missed part of this show and want to hear it again, go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. All of our archives are there, sitting there free for you to listen to at any time. So take along some advice, some drinks, and go listen. It's right there. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, is currently under construction. We are rebuilding it for you due to the vast amount of traffic that we have had there. So we are getting to that. So please stick with us for another couple weeks and we'll have it all looking good for you. Tonight we are talking Route 66. The hauntings along the legendary highway. Award-winning author Mike Ricksecker is with us tonight. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Dave. I was happy to be back.
Now, you actually did a presentation on Route 66. First off, let's talk about the history of this highway. What makes it so special for people who don't know, who are listening from outside the United States?
Yeah, Route 66 is one of those really historic pieces of Americana, early to mid 20th century. It was that road. They called it the Mother Road, and it connected the east part of the country to the west before the interstate system took over. So basically this ran from Chicago all the way to Santa Monica, California. It was like the major artery right through the heart of the country. And when people wanted to travel, they wanted to go sightseeing across that part of the country, they would take Route 66. And I'm sure many people have seen a lot of the old rustic gas stations and hotels and all that whether it's in an old movie or maybe there's a little museum set up somewhere, this is where that comes from. And it was really kind of the heartbeat of the country during that era.
With that, and the history that goes along with it, obviously there would be a lot of deaths along that highway, whether it's through automobile accidents, whether it's through natural causes, in any of the buildings that were built along that way. You're someone who has investigated this legendary highway. How many stories are out there of this highway being haunted?
Well, I mean, you have, I don't even think you could possibly count. I mean, stretching from Illinois all the way out to California, each state has their own legends and ghost stories and unusual things that have happened. Of course, as you get further out west, then you start getting even some UFO stories and different cryptids and what have you. A lot of what I had researched had been in Oklahoma when I spent a few years there, and a large portion of historic Route 66 goes right through there. So there are a lot of ghost stories associated with the highway from, whether it's people, like you said, people who had traveled. There's ghosts of drifters and hitchhikers, all kinds of unusual activity up and down that highway. Interesting. Are there any stories that you research that really stand out to you? Yeah, the one that really stands out to me is the one between El Reno, Oklahoma, and Weatherford. And it's a story of the old vagabond, the old drifter. And he's seen a few different incarnations where sometimes people will just see him as a drifter along the side of the road, and they'll pass him. They're like, oh, there's an old guy in a hat walking along the side of the road. And a few miles further down the road, they'll see him again. And they'll keep going, and they'll see him again. They'll see him like 4 or 5 times down the road, same guy. At other times, they'll try to hitch a ride. And people will have reportedly picked him up, and they'll drive down the road with him for a while. And all of a sudden, he will just start flipping out in the back seat. He wants to get out. And so they'll let him off back on the side of the road again. They go on driving, and sure enough, a few miles down the road, there he is again. Sometimes he shows up as a guy who jumps out in front of cars right in the middle of the road. People report to have hit him, get out. They stop their car because they believe they hit somebody. They get out and they look, and there's nobody there. So a lot of interesting tales about who this may be. A lot of times he's seen during thunderstorms, and people will feel sorry for him. Well, let's bring this older gentleman in from the rain, and all these different things, like I just said, would happen. Some people have tried to say that maybe he's the old major from Fort Reno, right there by El Reno, who had committed suicide because his wife ran off with somebody. So some people will try to say, well, no, it's actually him, and they'll see him trudging back up to the fort. I almost think that that's a different ghost entirely, but sometimes people will try to relate those two ghosts together. So a lot of different interesting tales about this one individual. And yeah, that is an area of Route 66 that has seen a lot of tragedy, that has seen many car wrecks in terrible weather up and down there.
Now, the highway stretches for a very, very long path, well over 1,000 miles, and through numerous states. I believe there's about 7 or 8 states that it goes through. Do you notice a difference between the ghosts that are, say, haunting on the West Coast where the highway starts comparatively to, say, up in the Missouri, Illinois type area?
Yeah, they're definitely different, and I think it's almost universal. I mean, Route 66 aside, I think ghosts are almost localized to their own states anyway, that as you go from state to state to state, you start to get different, flavors of ghost stories. But that's because each state is a little different. It has its own character to it. So, yeah, along Route 66, as you go along, you start getting a different flavor of ghost story as well. So, yeah, those in California are different from the ones in New Mexico, or different from the ones in Missouri and Illinois, for sure.
How many of those states have you investigated Route 66 on?
Well, let's see. There would be Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma. I think those are the 3 major ones I've investigated along there. Yeah.
So in regards to this and some of the spirits people are seeing, is it just ordinary ghosts that they're seeing, or are they seeing the tragedies unfold and happen, almost like a replay of what happened in yesteryear?
I think some of them are a replay. I think some of them are residual hauntings. You do hear of, some of these, sometimes you'll hear stories of ghost cars. And a lot of those type of hauntings are basically a virtual replay of the car going down the highway and some sort of tragedy happening. I think a lot of these, like the Vagabond, I think a lot of times, he's a residual haunting from a number of the stories. It's not just Oklahoma where you'll hear this story. You'll hear it in other states as well. And I think a lot of them are residual, that it's something that's replaying again and again. But I think you have some other ones that are more intelligent in nature and will try to communicate with you. More so the ones that might be hanging out at someplace that had been an old service station or an old motel or something like that. But I think more of the roadside ones are probably a bit more residual.
Now, Mike, when you are looking at Route 66, it's easy to say, okay, there's a lot of death on this very famous or infamous highway, but there's also a lot of history involved with this. I mean, looking in Illinois, you got the Rialto Theater in Joliet, or the Lemp Mansion in Missouri, just to name a couple. these buildings that encase so much history along this very big trade route from the central United States to the west, there has to be just a plethora of haunted buildings along here too.
Oh, absolutely. You take a look at Alton, Illinois. We do a lot of work out of there. Mineral Springs Hotel, at Pike Mansion. All those are, all up and down Route 66. You have many, many historic towns and cities, and any number of them have dozens of ghost stories, hauntings, supernatural activity. It's a piece of the country that history really defined the early 20th century. We had a lot of different significant things that happened. We had 2 world wars, we had the Great Depression, we had the Roaring 20s, but Route 66 played a major factor in all that. You had, when it comes to the mob, running from Chicago, Kansas City, going further out west. They utilized that highway.
So basically, it was a real. How can I put this? It was a real running route for any type of operation, whether it was legal or illegal, in order to get things from the West Coast into the heart of the United States.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you, there were 2 major trade routes. One, of course, was the railroad. That was maybe a little more difficult. Some gangsters would have a in on that, but for the most part, it would be trucking, and we didn't have the interstate system was developed to really start enhancing trucking. Basically, Dwight Eisenhower during World War II saw the infrastructure that Germany had put into place with their highway system and their trucking routes. So he wanted to bring that to America. So we expanded, with the interstate system. But before that, trucks would have to mostly take the back roads. But Route 66 was one of those few major highways that they could really utilize. And so, you think of, the trucks with the tarps that, were covering the barrels of whiskey or gin or whatever they were running. Yeah, absolutely.
For a long time, Route 66 was known as Bloody 66 because of the many car crashes that occurred, especially on parts of the highway that were often quite narrow and only 2 lanes. When you look at it, there's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have died along this highway over the years. Do you think the majority of them could be still wandering around those old highways trying to figure out where they are or to try and get back on their route?
Oh, I certainly think some of them are. Yeah, there are thousands of people that died along those roads. The roads back then were not like they are today. We think of a highway today, and it's got all these different lanes, and it's raised up and a lot nicer. The grading is done really well, and we just don't have that context to really put into perspective of how those older roads were done. Yeah, it was. We follow the highway, we call it the mother road, but a lot of areas were much more narrow. You may be going through a treacherous type of area. It was very dark. I think we forget how. We have all kinds of light pollution these days, for one. And we have street lights and electrics run all over the place. But back in the day, it wasn't as prevalent, and so you get into some really dark areas of the country, especially with a new moon, and there's no moon out there to help. You just have a couple of dim headlights. They're not like these LED or halogen lights or anything that we have these days. And it would become very dangerous. Throw some rain into the mix, and oh wow, yeah, all kinds of people would get into these tragic accidents, and certainly many of them, and that happens with a lot of spirits. That something happens, there's an accident, they don't know that they've passed away, and they're still wandering around. Or like we were talking with the residual hauntings, it just keeps replaying and replaying and replaying over and over again. This tragedy, that energy gets trapped there.
In regards to that situation, like the story you mentioned a few minutes ago, how many people are encountering some sort of spirit wandering around the highways in different sectors of the highway?
Well, you hear a number of reports. I mean, it's not like every fifth person that drives by sees the apparition or whatever it may be. But you'll hear frequent reports from certain areas, like that area there between El Reno and Weatherford. It's more frequent than maybe some of the other areas that you'll hear a story or two out of. And then there's times where it may be a certain condition. If there's a storm, maybe if the storm is energizing the area, that multiple people on the same night will suddenly report seeing this apparition on the side of the road, and then nobody will see a thing for the next year. So there's a lot of little factors in that kind of play into how often these sightings are.
A lot of it has to do with a lot of First Nations heritage as well. I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to investigate that, but there is a part of the northern route called the Trail of Tears rolling through Missouri. And the legend or the story goes that the Cherokee Indians were forced to relocate in 1838 from their traditional homelands to the southern Appalachians, and that's the route they took. Is there a lot of First Nations spirits going on in that area as well, considering the emotion of the time over 150 years ago?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, all from where they started all the way into Oklahoma. And that was, Route 66 aside, I mean, that was just an absolute tragedy. And that energy all through that trail is very prevalent. And, yeah, there's a number of, say, hauntings and activity that happen all throughout there. And I think that we tend to forget a lot of that those things like that happened to Native Americans. And I think we all remember it as they were, like Oklahoma really becomes focused on that, because that ended up becoming the part of the country that they were sent to. And they were basically forced to try to become neighbors with the tribes that were there. And so, I mean, that did not set very well with the existing tribes there. And then you had these people that were completely displaced from their homes, forced into there. And so it was just an absolute tragic mess. And it still goes on today. We may have forgotten, like, I would say, the common average everyday person, because we're so far removed from that time, that era. We have all of these other things going on in our lives, the television, internet, all these things blowing up in our face all the time. But those descendants are still having to live with that, and they haven't forgotten. And so that energy is still very prevalent within their families and those nations, because they still are nations to this day that exist.
Do you believe then that certain parts of this highway, Route 66, Mike, are cursed?
There are probably areas that are like that. I know that certainly there have been curses put out there. There have been burial grounds dug up to make way for the highway. And not just Route 66, but other highways throughout the entire area. Our ancestors, not the ancestors of the indigenous people that were originally here, but our ancestors who came and colonized did not pay that respect to the existing sites, whether they were ancient mounds, ancient burial sites, ancient structures that were here. If they encountered them and it was in their way, they obliterated it. It was very common that anything considered pre-Columbian, in other words, before Christopher Columbus discovered America, anything pre-Columbian was considered heathen and not Christian, and therefore was free to obliterate if you felt the need to do so, which is definitely very tragic from a historic standpoint and also for those peoples. And so there are a lot of, if you go back into their culture, there's a lot of spiritual protection and energy that were placed onto those sites as a means of protection. So that, yeah, if you went through there to put your road, Route 66 or any of the others, and it happened to be one of those burial sites or what have you that were supposed to have those protections, certainly there could be areas of that road that are cursed because of what had happened to place that road down.
And on that note, Mike, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to step out for a break at the top of the hour. Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We'll take your questions in the chat rooms and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio right after this in hour 2. We're going to continue on with Route 66. Have you ever seen a ghost on the legendary highway? Stay tuned. We'll find out more stories after this.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows.
The
Find
freedom
to
post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. only on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, Robert Kennedy is here to discuss the legendary Sasquatch of British Columbia. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Remember, you can check out our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Philodendron. Philodendron is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, which is currently under construction, but usually it has a plethora of features for you. Just stay tuned. We're going to have a brand new website coming up very, very soon. Tonight we are talking with paranormal investigator Mike Ricksecker. He's been doing this for 20 years. He's an award-winning author. You can find all of his books on Amazon. He's been featured in numerous television shows as well when it deals with the paranormal or the strange and odd. His website, MikeRicksecker.com. He is also the owner of Haunted Road Media as well. Mike, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here, Dave.
I want to get to some audience questions here coming up. And we're going to start off with Uncle Dale and his power mustache. And he is asking, are there any lady in white stories along Route 66?
Yeah, you get lady in white stories. I mean, the lady in white stories are kind of common. I mean, you almost get them a lot up there around the Chicago area. Of course, like Resurrection Mary. You know, that's probably one of the more famous type of lady in white stories. Kind of appearing on the side of the road. Hitchhiking and what have you, but yeah, that's one there where people. It's almost like the vagabond story, where people see the young woman or the lady wearing the white dress. I mean, it's almost it's like the ghostly apparition, and people will pick her up, and sometimes she'll just disappear out of the back of the car. Other times she'll want to be dropped off at a cemetery. So there's a lot of different interesting lady in white stories. There's ones that are associated with a wedding, that there was, she was supposed to get married and there was an accident that night before the wedding, and then she's seen in her wedding dress along the side of the road. So yeah, there's a number of different lady in white stories associated with the route.
Those lady in white stories seem to be everywhere. I know there's one in Vancouver as well that seems to be trying to hitch a ride either to the Vancouver airport or sometimes she's going into town, whatever it may be. Why does every town or city seem to have this lady in white? And do you think there's a correlation between all of these lady in whites that seem to be out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think some of it is that kind of urban legend type of mentality where we have a particular tragedy that happened, and we tend to do this within our society, that we end up turning something like that into a ghost story. I do believe some of them are actually seen. So there's kind of that gray area where it's kind of that edge of reality and legend. I think some of these women have truly been seen. A lot of apparitions are seen in kind of a whitish type of a nature. So you get a lot of the elements of there's a tragedy that happened here. We've seen the woman. It's an apparition, so there might have that kind of whitish effect to it. And so you end up with these different lady in white stories. And of course, along the way, some of them get embellished, so it happens.
Oh, anything gets embellished in the paranormal? No.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Never. But what can we say about that? Out of all the states where Route 66 touches, are there any states that are more haunted than others by this phenomena?
I mean, I have that personal connection with Oklahoma. That's when I really first started investigating Route 66. So that was always going to pull at me. But, Illinois has had a lot of different stories up and down Route 66. I've been doing a lot more there since I moved to Illinois last year. And, of course, a few years ago, I started spending more time out here since Shana, my significant other, has been out here. Some of the other states are a little bit more sparsely populated, but, they'll have different stories that, aren't necessarily ghost stories, but, they may have some UFO stories and things like that associated with it. So it's all a little different, but, my personal favorites are always going to go back to Oklahoma.
You mentioned UFOs. Are there a lot of sightings of UFOs along the highway?
Yeah, once you start getting out into like Arizona, New Mexico, and out there, you start getting a lot more of the UFO reports that people have, while driving along the highway, they'll see an unidentified flying object. They may have, some of those different stories about losing time will happen out there. So you'll get the UFO stories along old Route 66.
Incredible. When it comes to missing time, have you ever investigated any of those reports?
Well, I haven't had a personal time experience like that, but I have talked to people who have experienced that type of phenomenon. Those are really, really interesting. So I have actually been, in some other research, been doing more with time and how time actually works. And this is probably a lot different subject than where we're going tonight. But I do have a theory that I've been working on, that instead of there being a river of time like we generally think of it, that perhaps time is more in a vertical nature rather than horizontal, in which at specific locations, time is just is, where everything that ever has happened and ever will happen is currently happening at that location right now as we speak. And when we see a ghost or an apparition or some of this different supernatural phenomena, that it's different moments within those time frames that are echoing at that location. So it's not a foolproof theory. It's one I've been working on for a while, and but it makes you think. It makes you think about how time may really work, and maybe that's how some of these people are losing that time.
I'm a big believer in that, man. There are too many people out there who have had real weird instances of that missing time, whether it's aliens or maybe they're driving through some sort of portal or something along those lines. There is some weird stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely weird stuff going on, especially like in the Four Corners area out west. There's all kinds of strange portal activity going on out there. So people losing time, I don't doubt it whatsoever.
Mike in the chat room is asking, Mr. Ricksecker, do you have any information on the Steffelbach House Bordello on Route 66?
I have not investigated that one, so I don't have any specific information. I do apologize.
Are there any buildings there that have really stuck out to you because of their hauntings or their legends?
Well, you mentioned Lit Mansion. That's a great one. It's a classic haunted house. What I love about it, of course, you can't access it. There are all the tunnels underneath. that whole cave system that's under there, all the tunnels that go under the city, absolutely fantastic. Across the river from that would be Alton, Illinois, Mineral Springs Hotel. 5 floors that are all very uniquely haunted. There's mob activity, gangsters, back during the 20s when it was used for the Mineral Springs and all of that. Fantastic stories that come out of that building. I mentioned Fort Reno earlier. You even have we talk about some strange things that have happened along Route 66. That has an interesting cemetery story in which it was one of the, I believe it was the Fort Chaplain had passed away, and this is back when they had still were drawing the body up to the cemetery by horse, and bolts of lightning actually hit the carriage, spooked the horses, they calmed the horses down, resumed the procession up to the cemetery, and another bolt of lightning hit the carriage again. It's just strange stuff that goes on all up and down that route.
Famous people, they die everywhere. We know that. But have there ever been any famous people who have been seen as ghosts along the highway or in any of the buildings?
Well, what's interesting, like when it comes to Illinois, talk about famous people, Abraham Lincoln. So, the different routes along Route 66 in Illinois, locations where Abraham Lincoln had stayed, spent time, are marked as locations along that route, and some people claim to see him. Probably the most famous ones you can get along Route 66.
That is awesome. Where is Lincoln seen?
Carlinville is one of the areas. Springfield area for sure. So a number of different locations. Alton is another one because they had the Lincoln-Douglas debates down there.
Very interesting.
Quite a few locations. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. You mentioned Oklahoma, that you like investigating there along the highway. There's a number of places along there that are said to have a lot of history and hauntings, from the Gilcrease Museum to the Skirvin Hotel, the Belvedere Mansion in Claremore. Do you have any favorite locations in the state of Oklahoma that really, really catch your eye?
Yeah, Oklahoma has a lot of fantastic haunts. I mean, the Skirvin Hotel has all the great urban legends with Effie the Chambermaid, who, and I could, again, almost another topic entirely, would go into urban legends and how that formed out of unrelated pieces of history to form her legend. But my favorite location in Oklahoma is actually in Guthrie, Oklahoma, the original capital of the state, and that is the Stone Lion Inn. It's a bed and breakfast there now. Had served time as a funeral parlor. It was originally a family home, but when you walk up to that house, it's just like the epitome of a haunted house. You look at it, you're like, yeah, that place is definitely haunted. But once you walk in and you just feel that creepy, spooky ambience, and all the floors are creaky, it's got that musty scent to it. Doors are opening and closing on their own. You hear the footsteps. It is a very creepy, cool house, and anytime I've gone there, I've absolutely loved it. But that whole town of Guthrie is absolutely haunted.
Well, tell us about Guthrie then. What makes it so haunted, in your opinion?
There's a lot of history there. The historic district, you have it's a town that when they had the land rush, just blew up overnight. It was one of the tent cities that, because it grew up so quickly, they didn't have enough time to build a lot of the buildings, so people would set up tents and establish their little businesses and try to acquire land and what have you. So that whole downtown section had once been a tent city. So you have the Bluebell Saloon that came out of that, originally established in a tent, along with Miss Lizzie's Bordello, and they shared a space for a long time, and up through when they ended up building there. So you had a lot of the outlaws and gangs that came through there. Spent time, of course, at the saloon, drinking and what have you. Tom Mix, who was one of the big guys in the early 20th century that did the Western movies, did a lot of work up at the 101 Ranch. He got his start there at the Bluebell Saloon. Very haunted location. Of course, like I said, they had the Bordello, and there's a lot of stories that come out of there about different things that happen with the girls, different, the one girl, Claudia, being a legend of her being murdered there. That's just the Bluebell. You have the First Territorial Prison there, which they call the Black Jail. The Gallows is right across the street. Again, a number of those gangs that were there at the Bluebell ended up spending time in the First Territorial Prison that was there. You had the I forget his name now, but the night before that he was supposed to be hung, he got so scared that he ended up dying of a heart attack just before his hanging, before his execution. They see him crossing the street. There's another woman in white story associated with that too, of her crossing the street as well. One of the interesting things about Guthrie is they have in that town what had been for a long, long time the largest Masonic temple in the country. It's been superseded since then, but for, I don't want to call it a small town, but I say a smaller town. It looks like they just grabbed a building out of Washington, D.C., and it's huge, it is massive, and just dumped it there right in the middle of this smaller town. It's so out of place. But that's where a lot of the Masons around Oklahoma would come and convene, and they ran a children's home there for a long time. It contained both elderly and the children. And then it was just converted to the children, but they ran a children's home for a while. Stories there of unfortunately children being abused, whether it can be substantiated or not, we don't know. Some say that some of the children were buried right there on the property. Again, hard to substantiate it, but there's a number of ghost stories there with children, with old school mistresses, or even the one of the maintenance men is said to be seen there. Near the tower area of the old home. So there's a number of hauntings around that town. The old Santa Fe Railroad Depot is there. The Harvey girls worked there, and so the mistress that was the head of the Harvey girls is supposed to still be there, keeping watch over the girls, of course. So a lot of interesting historic buildings and hauntings within that town.
Were there a lot of brothels and bordellos along this highway? Because you've mentioned that a couple of times in a couple different locations.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was once you got out west a little bit, having the brothels and bordellos there, they were all over the country, but it was a lot more frequent as you got further west. The law got a lot more loose. I mean, it's the Wild West, so you had a lot more of those types of buildings out there.
So going back in history then, for those of us who may not be familiar, you mentioned that it is the Wild West. Are there a lot of ghosts and spirit scenes still riding on horseback throughout the countrysides?
Well, you'll get the spirits riding on horseback. You'll get the gambler still playing cards. Old patrons, seen sitting at different at the bars, at the saloons. I mentioned the Bluebell Saloon earlier. There's a passageway down into the bathroom area. That's now the bathroom area as you head toward the basement, and there's a guy with a brown derby hat that's seen there from back in the day. So yeah, a lot of these locations, go back to the Wild West. You're playing cards, you're drinking, there's a fight that breaks out, somebody gets shot, and they die right there in the saloon. And so they're still there haunting the location where they had been murdered.
Was there a lot of murders that happened in that area? Because I'm assuming if that's the Wild West, could have everything from alcohol running to train and stagecoach robbing and everything along those lines. So the energy must be just fantastic.
It is, and it's very different than, you come out east and you have like Revolutionary War, War of 1812, Civil War, and there were Civil War skirmishes and battles and what have you out west too, but less frequent. But yeah, you have these different stories of the outlaws, and they're running around. Seriously, they were trying to rob stagecoaches and trains and all of that. Those things did happen, and then the law would go and track them down, and a lot of times there would be a gunfight, not like you see in the movies or what have you, but a small skirmish, and somebody would die. One of the more famous ones, we're talking Oklahoma here, that is really strange, is of Elmer McCurdy, and this links back to Guthrie, where he has a there on boot.
I think Mike might be driving in a bad area right now. Imagine the story he's telling right now. We may have to try and get him back on the air because it's a little bit, well, his cell phone connection sucks right now. Let's just be honest. We're going to have to try and get him back on the air here momentarily as we are about to go. Actually, it's pretty good timing because we're that close to a break. We are that close to a break, and we'll try and get Mike back on here in just on the other side of the break. Hey, don't forget, if you have missed a portion of this show or any of our archives and shows that you have wanted to hear but just haven't had the time to, do me a favor. Head on over to youtube.com/spaced out radio. And, of course, hit that red subscribe button. We'd appreciate that. You can check out all of our archives for free. Remember, our website is spacedoutradio.com. Our new site is under construction. More with Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media coming up right after this.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is for your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Past the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you for coming along for the ride tonight. Remember, if you've missed any part of this show or others, you can always check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. It's free for you to listen to. The only thing we ask in return is you hit that subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it. And our website, currently under construction. We got a new one being built. It's going to be sexy. Very, very sexy at spacedoutradio.com. Tonight we are talking with Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media. He is an award-winning author. You can find all of his books on Amazon.com if you want to check that out. His website, MikeRicksecker.com. And, of course, you can check him out on a ton of different television shows. He's made guest appearances on numerous ones on Animal Planet, Bio Channel, and very many more. Mike, welcome back to the show. I think it's kind of funny that you were passing a cell phone tower when your cell phone went out.
Yeah, go figure that. Crazy technology.
5G, my friend. 5G right there. You didn't get a cell signal, but you sure caught cancer. That's the way it is.
Absolutely. That's the way it works these days.
And I say that facetiously, of course.
Of course.
Nonetheless, you have a paranormal conference coming up here in just a couple of months in June 1st, 2nd. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's the Haunted Road Media Paracon, June 1st. It's in Alton, Illinois, at the Mineral Springs Hotel. It's the second one that we've done, so second annual. And what's really nice about this is that, last year we just started putting it together as a Haunted Road Media author event. So with Haunted Road Media, part of what we do is a paranormal publishing company. We're also a video production company. But it was just going to be a author event. And it grew into something more. So we have people from all over that are coming out to this. We have some fantastic guests and speakers. We have Coyote Chris Sutton. He's local, but we have guys like Lee Ehrlich coming all the way up from Florida. Vanessa Hogel's coming out from Oklahoma. A lot of wonderful people. Michelle Hamilton all the way from Virginia. The Southern Gypsies are going to be there from West Virginia. So it's a really nice group of people, and it's at a very, very historic location. So we're going to have a smattering of different topics from past life regression to spiritual warfare. Excuse me. Amelia Cotter's coming, and she's actually bringing some of her reptilian friends. So, actual snakes, not like reptilian aliens. And then we have the paranormal investigation that night. We have live music going on. It's a fantastic group of people. We have such a great time together. And so I encourage people to come out. It's at a fantastic historic building. I mentioned it earlier. 5 stories of hauntings. They're all very different there. And Dave and Donna Nunley, who run the store It's Raining Zen, which is at the front of the hotel, You've always been a great support for us. And, it's a really wonderful venue with fantastic people.
What's the cost on that?
It's really low, so it's only $5 for an entrance fee just to get into it, and that'll get you to all the vendors, all the speakers, the live music, all of that. The paranormal investigation is $35, and that runs from 8 until midnight.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Wish I could be there.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to invite me next year.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
I will make my way out there for you. I would, because you're a good friend of the show, and you've helped me out a bit. I will figure out a way to get out there. Don't you worry about that.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will do that for you, my friend. But nonetheless, when you go to these conferences, because you're speaking at a number of them this year, what do you enjoy about the experience? Is it telling the stories of your investigation? Is it dealing with the people who come out and just want some questions answered? Or is it the free food?
There's not always free food, so I definitely can't say that. Mostly it's meeting the people. You know, there's all sorts of different people from all walks of life that come to these different conferences. And one of the things that I really enjoy about what I do, hearing the story, it's part hearing the stories from all the different people, but there's a lot of people over the years that have approached me, whether they've read a book or watched one of the videos, or maybe they heard me speak for the first time that day, whatever it is. And they've approached me and just said, thank you. You've helped me to realize that I'm not crazy, that I'm not alone, that other people are having these experiences. And so, it's very humbling for me, but it also helps me to realize that, all of this that I'm doing, even though there's people out there that do think I'm crazy, let them think that, but that all of this is helping people. That, through whether it's my experiences or through the experiences that are in, the books that one of the other authors have written, whatever it is, that they found their tribe. And there's perhaps a reason why they experienced what they experienced. So they, figured out that, even though, somebody in their family or a number of people in their family were telling them that they were nuts or off their rocker, that they didn't really see what they saw or experience what they experienced, that no, they truly did. And now they have somebody or some people that they can talk to and finally relate to with those experiences. So that's what I really enjoy is talking to the people.
I like them when you can come together to the community. I also like them in order to discuss with my fellow speakers, so that way I can, on a selfish note, get some good shows booked, but on the flip side, learn about what they are doing in order to try and move the entire field forward with their investigations. Do you like talking to the other speakers who show up, no matter if it's your own event or an event you're invited to, in order to try and maybe find some new ways to enhance what you are doing on the research level?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all that camaraderie and networking always leads to something, whether we are, discovering new methods of investigation or, scouting out a new location. Some of my best friendships, I've met a lot of these people for the first time at conferences. Talk about locations along Route 66 and Belvoir Winery there in Liberty, Missouri. It's another one of those stops along the way that there are rumors of gangsters and what have you around that area of the country. But it was I think maybe 8 years ago. That I attended it was a small gathering, a small conference that was there, but I met some fantastic people there. Two of the guys, Lee Ehrlich and Adam Tillery, are now writing books with us. Adam is a fantastic artist, so he does the illustrations for a number of our books. But, with Lee, he was showing us at Mineral Springs a couple of years ago a very, very interesting way of capturing EVPs and disembodied voices off of the water. So he calls them water-based EVPs. He does a lot of deep-sea diving, whether it's rescue work or deep-sea salvage. He's been into a lot of old shipwrecks in which he's experienced paranormal activity, so he does a lot of interesting work, and he does a lot with water. And so that's one of the things he's going to be speaking at our conference is the water-based EVPs. But just years later after meeting him, we're meeting up again, and he's showing us these other methods that we haven't used before because we weren't that familiar with water. So yeah, it's wonderful how you can get all these different people from all different walks of life together, talking about the speakers and other investigators that have these different methods that you can try and use and see how they may work for you.
The reaction from the people, that has to be the best, though, when you can say something that connects with them to help them through their own situation.
Oh, sure, absolutely. That's what I was talking about earlier, that helping these people to realize that they're not alone in this, that we're all in this together. We've all had different experiences. Maybe it's my experience to relate to or somebody else's from one of the other Hollywood media authors, and just sometimes they just want to be able to tell their story, and I love standing there and listening to their story. So it works both ways, and sometimes they just needed that a little bit of assurance that they weren't crazy. They tell their story, and I'm there to help understand what it is they went through. Maybe answer a question or two, or maybe point them in the right direction. Maybe something that can help them out, or maybe somebody that can help them out. And it's rewarding for everybody all the way around.
Mike, in 20 years that you have been investigating, you obviously have a number of stories that have stuck with you over the years. Is there a story in particular that you just can't get out of your head, whether it affected you emotionally or is just so puzzling you can't figure it out?
Yeah, well, that first shadow person story I tell all the time because, that was very impactful at a very young age. But, there's a few different ones, but one that we've been trying to figure out for the past couple of years happened on the Goldenrod showboat. Unfortunately, the Goldenrod showboat is no longer with us. It was burned in an arson fire about 1.5 years ago. But the last public event that we ran on there, it was the Saturday after Thanksgiving 2016, and like I said, it was a public event, so we had run a bunch of equipment and all that all night long. And there's just 3 of us left at the end, just kind of talking. It was Shana, her friend Tara, who's a psychic medium, and myself. And we're just in the showroom. The 2 ladies were sitting on the floor, and I'm standing there. I have one single light that's shining off into the lobby area. The entire showboat was all boarded up for the winter. There's no other source of light from anywhere. But as I'm standing there, I saw this translucent yellow ball of light just kind of fall down between the ladies. They didn't see it because they're just looking at each other and talking. But I'd seen this. And at first I didn't pay it any mind because it just might have been maybe a trick of the light, maybe my flashlight that was there kind of caught a piece of dust the wrong way. Don't know. But then, a couple minutes later, next to Shana, I saw this bar of light that was maybe about 3 inches long. And it was on the opposite side of her. Again, she didn't notice it because she's looking at Tara, and they're talking back and forth. So I walk around Shana and go over to where this bar of light is. I'm trying to figure out where the source of light is coming from. And I start doing, weird things with my hand and trying to, break a beam of light that just didn't exist. And the girls are thinking I'm strange, kind of looking up at me like, what is he doing? And I see this bar of light just waver, like it's fluttering, and then poof, it was gone. I'm like, what in the world was that? So I described to them what I saw. Again, they hadn't seen it because they were looking at each other talking. So they think I'm nuts. And then as I'm describing what had happened, I see that translucent yellow ball of light again just kind of whoosh around Shana. And I'm like, well, there it goes. Again, they didn't see it because now they were looking up at me. Finally, though, they did see it, and it was just dancing through the air all over that showroom inside the Goldenrod Showboat and it was going on for like almost 5 minutes, until finally it just swooped down between Tara and Shana and out into the lobby, and we never saw it again. And, I mean, I've seen, the occasional translucent ball of light, or, what some people may call like a real orb, not a dust orb that you catch in photos, but like something that you really see with your own eyes that's doing something. And this by far surpassed any of that. We've speculated maybe it was a fairy just because, it had that yellowish glow to it. When I saw it on the floor, it was a bar of light and had that fluttering effect to it. So if there are fairies, maybe this is one, or maybe somebody's going to call it a water sprite because we were there next to the water. I don't know. We have no idea what it really was. I mean, maybe it was some sort of spirit. No idea. It was absolutely bizarre. But yet, there you go. It happened.
It totally happens. And that is something, when you look at it, you have to wonder, is that alien? Is that ghostly? Because we hear of so many of these orange orbs that surround UFO sightings. In your gut, what do you think it was?
Yeah, in my gut, I initially called it a fairy, and I'm sticking with it until otherwise proven to be something else. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch any of it on camera because of all that investigating we had done earlier. Our batteries were dead on everything except the audio recorders. So there's like 5 minutes of audio of us talking about it and exclaiming, oh, there it goes over there, there it goes over there. And there was another photo from earlier that summer that Shana had caught. We were down a little further south at some old locks right there along the river, and it was a swooping arc of something with some sort of luminescence. Couldn't really tell if it was a ball of light or something else just because it was of the nature of it being a swooping arc. So it led us to believe that it might be some sort of entity that's living there around the water, whether, like I said, maybe a fairy or a water sprite or what have you. So it's something supernatural for sure. I mean, who knows? Maybe it is an alien. I can't say that for sure at all about any of it, but my initial gut is if any of those legends about fairies are true, and we did some research, and it's hard to research on fairies because there's all of this legend and lore that's built up over the centuries that is just, it's just the legends. It's just the stories. People, adding and adding and adding to whatever the little nugget of truth is within there. So it's hard to know what's truth anymore. But it's my initial gut, and I'm sticking with it until otherwise proven.
Mike, we have about 3 minutes before we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Do you feel you personally are any closer to trying to solve this paranormal mystery of what is going on, or are you just as stuck as you were 20 years ago?
Oh, I'd like to think I have a few more answers. I mean, I've come to understand a bit more. I see more shadows than I do any other type of entity. And so I think I've come to know and learn a little bit more about shadow activity over the years. I've been exploring more about my different theories of time. And so I think with anything that's esoteric like this field, there's always going to be those questions. There's always going to be those mysteries. But I believe, at least, that I've come to a better understanding of at least a few different type of phenomena in this field. And it's that mystery that's going to keep driving me. And hopefully over the next several decades, I'll be able to fill in a few more blanks at least. And, of course, write about it and pass that on to the next generation, and maybe somebody else down the road can fill in a few more blanks.
Well, we'll have to see, because for many people out there, they don't know if they're any closer whatsoever from the day they started. Just the toys are a lot more fun.
Well, yeah, they got a few more lights and bells and whistles.
Oh, I hear you there. I hear you there. With that, is the quest still the same after this long?
Oh, I think it changes over time, you know. Before, in the early days, it's, okay, I saw something there. I want to see that again to just, you know, ensure I know what it is I saw. You know, for other people, you know, they haven't seen anything, but they want to see a ghost or a spirit or something for the first time. For me, that's changed a bit, where, you know, I'm trying to find out more about the stories of the people that lived at these different places. I want to learn more about the history and use the stories of different people's sightings to try to fill in those blanks and round out that story, but also to try to better explain. And I don't say, you know, definitively explain, because I don't think you can definitively explain any of this right now, but to try to better explain some of these different phenomena for people that are maybe you know, just joining the field, or, you know, maybe for somebody who just wants to know a little bit more information about a particular subject. Like, I'm currently writing a book about shadow people. And so as I'm compiling more information on that, I think it'll help, you know, to better explain some of that different type of phenomena for whoever may be interested.
Mike, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to hop out for a break at the top of the hour. More weird, strange, paranormal stories with Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media coming up to kick off hour number 3, then the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. We'll be back. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social media freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social media freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you along for the ride. Of course, tomorrow night on the show, we got Robert Kennedy coming on in. We're talking British Columbia Sasquatch. It's going to be a great show. Robert's a great investigator. You'll enjoy it starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Philodendron. Philodendron is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you usually. However, we're rebuilding our website, so we ask your patience and you stay tuned because we got some exciting things coming down the pike for that. Tonight we are talking with Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media. You can find a plethora of his novels on Amazon.com, where he's an award-winning author. Mike has been investigating the paranormal for the last 20 years. His website, MikeRicksecker.com. If you want to check it out, I highly suggest you do. Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Always a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, we love having you here as well, my friend, so thank you for that. Mike, a lot of investigators these days are really starting to turn their attention to whether or not there is a correlation between all of the paranormal, using it as an umbrella term. For instance, is there a connection between ghosts, UFOs, Sasquatch, consciousness, so on and so forth? Have you started to look down that road with your investigation?
Well, yeah, I think you have to, because if you look back at our ancient cultures and where a lot of this, a lot of these stories came from, and a lot of these, some of them are almost, well, they are rituals in nature. You go back to the ancient sites of power. You go back to like Stonehenge, go Blacky Tepe, and the pyramids. That's where a lot of people would access the energy that we now say is manifesting as these different entities. So, back at that time, they were interfacing with the spirit energy in a different way, and now you have that energy coming forth in different ways, whether it's a spirit form, whether it's an interdimensional being. When it comes to aliens, there's, that debate of whether, are they actually coming in from outside in a spaceship, or are they coming in from another dimension using that type of energy? So I think people are starting to, go back to the roots and go back to where it all began, with that energy, with those sites of power, with those telluric currents that are within the earth itself.
So what's your personal belief?
Well, I'm still exploring there. My personal belief is that energy is certainly universal, that it's what makes us. There's a bit of that energy within us. And so when, we go to one of those sites of power, say Stonehenge or what have you, and we're able to connect with that, it resonates with us because it's all a part of us, that energy. I believe, we're in a meat sack, and that, our soul is actually real, that energy within us is actually real. And, when we leave this one, we go home for a little while and we come back again. So that energy is everlasting through me, through you, through everyone listening, through the earth itself and across the universe.
That's a big statement for a lot of paranormal people to try and figure out. Are you surprised that so many different paranormal teams or cryptid teams or even UFO hunters out there are not trying to correlate any information between each and every phenomenon?
Well, everybody has a different opinion, and so, and some people just want to investigate one particular thing. Maybe they only have an interest in cryptids and Sasquatch, or maybe they only have a interest in ghosts, in spirits. Everybody's a little different in what their interests are, and that's fine. Maybe they're, that group of people can figure out everything that's going on with Sasquatch or Chupacabra, and that other group, maybe they can figure out what's going on with the aliens, and that one can take care of interdimensional beings or whatever, and and just really focus there and be able to find out those answers. I'm one of those that's I'll say I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none. I like a little bit of it all.
Do you wish you had more time to investigate cryptids or UFOs, or right now is there still too much to do with the paranormal field?
I just wish I had more time in general. Yeah, I wish I had a little more time to do a number of those different things. As I continue to explore the paranormal, and as I continue to explore history and ancient history, all those things come into play anyway. You come into stories of different creatures. You come into stories of, what may be aliens. You come into all those stories of different entities and different beings and different types of energy, and the way things, the way different sites would be used by different peoples and cultures. So you end up crossing paths with it all anyway, which is why I leave myself open to all different areas.
In your opinion, then, what are we missing? What's the missing link that you are searching for that you haven't found yet, or other investigators haven't found yet?
I think what's eluding us is that one thing that can be seen with your eyes, that everybody can see with their eyes, to say this is it. I guess basically to have that veil lifted for a moment, to be able to see that world around us that we don't normally see with our eyes, that world that every once in a while you get like a little peek of, and you end up telling, oh, did you see that? Or you go off telling, so I saw, somebody's spirit. I saw, it could be Aunt Joe or whatever. and they may or may not believe you, but to have that moment where everybody's able to see it for just a moment, so everybody actually knows, yes, it does exist. But we speculate that there's maybe a rule in place where you aren't allowed to see that, perhaps, or you're not allowed to know it all, and for whatever reason, whether it's a rule or law of the universe, that it's always going to be that one step away from us that we're always going to be chasing, unfortunately. And maybe that's where faith comes into play.
Do we have to have faith, though, in order to solve this riddle?
I think in some cases you have to have a little bit of faith to actually believe that it exists on some sort of level. I mean, you're going to have your skeptics out there that are never going to believe, and that's fine. They want that concrete answer. I think you have to not necessarily believe wholeheartedly, both feet in that it's all true, but to at least have that little bit of belief that it could be, that there might be something out there. To at least have that little bit of curiosity to explore. I think you need that at least.
If you had time to investigate a little bit further, would you choose UFOs? Would you choose ghosts a little bit more? Would you go more into the cryptid world? What fascinates you?
That's a good question. So like I said, I'm kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none, and I like a little bit of it all. But I would probably go more into the ancient history, ancient sites of power, and the energy that our ancestors were trying to harness back then, and learn about how those cultures interacted with supernatural energy.
Why would that be important to try and translate into today's language?
I think they knew a little bit more about it than we do today. I think a lot of that knowledge got lost to time. I think they were able to access it more frequently than we can now. And so I'd love to be able to go back and learn what they knew and have a better chance of accessing that. I think they used those sites to be able to access it. We just don't know how anymore.
Do you think that's where the secret lies to answering these questions?
It could possibly be. It really could. That, maybe we need to go back to the past in order to get into the future.
A lot of people would say that going into the past is giving up science for faith.
Oh, I think they work hand in hand, really. I think they each complement each other. That when you talk about those ancient sites of power, there is a bit of science in how the energy itself works, but those people had to have a faith it was going to work, and they had their own religions around it that became their faith. So it worked hand in hand.
I get that, but in regards to today's population, where we try to be so scientifically based rather than faith-based, do you think that this would be a quest just for yourself, or a quest for the entire paranormal community to try and figure out what is going on?
Oh, I don't think it's just for myself. I think there are a lot of people out there that have the same idea and the same beliefs and are just as interested. I think it would help the paranormal community to go down that route. I think they'd be able to have a better chance of explaining what it is we see and we're able to interact with. And if any of that technology can help, then that's fantastic. And I'll give you a bit of an example, because I've been to some of the different mounds here in the United States, like the Spiral Mounds in Oklahoma. I've been to the earthworks in Ohio, and I've experienced some interesting activity there at those ancient sites that are said to have power. But with technology, I've seen some interesting things, like at Spiral Mounds. I went live from there, and I get that it's in the middle of nowhere, but, I had my cell phone on. I'm trying to go live from there, do, an investigation. And you're allowed on top of a couple of the mounds. There's an old burial mound you're not, but I forget the name of it. It's the one right in the middle where they used to have their house of worship on top of the mound. When you got on top of that mound, that live session would just completely cut out. Then you get down off the mound, and it was fine, and it would broadcast just perfectly well. So there was something going on with the mound itself in which it was interfering with the piece of technology that was in my hand. Similarly, at the Great Circle Earthworks in Newark, Ohio, I had just completely charged up. I went there with a drone because I wanted to get some aerial footage. I had just completely charged up this drone. I'm supposed to get 24 minutes of time with it, which I usually do. I almost always get, about 20, 22 minutes. I'm supposed to get 24, but it's usually 20, 22 minutes, and then I bring it down out of the air before I lose it all. And I didn't have that thing up about 5 minutes in the air right above the Eagle Mound, and all of a sudden, boom, I completely lost power, and it was coming down on its own, before it shut off. So something with that mound was just draining the battery out of that. And that's incredible. Yeah, it is. So that's a place where these ancient peoples would go to experience that supernatural energy, that earth energy that's in it. They would use for their own culture, their own supernatural beliefs. And yet here's my technology from today having these reactions to it.
It's the mystery that keeps on continuing, as we got about 5.5 minutes left with you tonight, Mike, on Spaced Out Radio. What do we have to do, in your opinion, collectively, to try and bring some of these mysteries to the center of attention, to maybe start proving some of this instead of investigating? Or are we even barking up the wrong tree, that these are scenarios that maybe we're not supposed to know the answers to?
Well, I kind of alluded to that earlier. I think there's some things that we're not going to know the answers to, whether that's some sort of universal law or what have you. And so be it. Maybe there's a part of it that is always supposed to be mysterious to us, and it's always supposed to drive us to try to find out more. But I think there's some things that we could discover and find out, and maybe get a little bit closer to understanding it all. And that's what I try to do. Try to fill in a couple blanks here and there, and see what we might be able to continue to learn. There's always something to explore and find out and discover. And whether that's, I don't think it's ever going to be all the keys to the universe, but maybe it's a story that we can share and pass on. And there's always, I think one of the things that we're supposed to do in this life is pass on to the next generation. So even if it's just a matter of, taking what we know out now and passing it on to the next generation so it doesn't get forgotten, I think that's at least beneficial. There's so many times you look back through our past as humans, and we keep repeating much of our same history because over time we don't pass it on. It gets forgotten, and then we end up making the same mistakes over and over again. So, at the very least, pass on that knowledge so it doesn't get forgotten. And hopefully along the way, maybe we'll learn a thing or two more and pass that along too.
Are we heading in the right direction with the paranormal? Or is it too far gone right now with the power trip of paranormal television, with the advancements of science and everybody claiming they're scientists now, even though the majority haven't stepped into a science lab since probably high school? Where do we go? How do we get there?
Yeah. I think when it comes to the paranormal shows, it's gonna be cyclical. It's gonna have its ebb and flows. And I think we've seen for a number of years here that the paranormal show started to back off a little bit. I think they're trying to. A couple of the channels are trying to push a little bit more, but eventually it'll scale back again for a while, just as the public's interest wanes, because it's going to happen. They'll grow weary of it and they'll pull back, but then that interest will grow again. So hopefully when it takes a greater interest again, it won't be as it has become, where everything has to be a jump scare or we're embellishing the truth. Hopefully people can be a little bit more truthful. As far as the scientists, like I said, I don't have a problem with people trying to use scientific means to try to figure it out. It's worth a shot. Trying to use technology to figure some things out. Go for it. Give it a try. But keep an open mind about it and realize that there is a spiritual side to all of this. That is why we are seeing these things. That's why these things exist. There is a spiritual side. There is a soul. There is this energy that's out there. So don't close yourself off to that. Keep an open mind about it, and go ahead and use whatever gadgets you want to try. I still will adhere to your body being your best tool, though.
Keep the intuition clean. Cleanse yourself. Spiritually, that is.
Absolutely.
We got about 90 seconds with you, my friend. Tell everybody where they can find you, your books, your conference, Haunted Road Media, and whatever's in the cupboard you're opening.
Yeah, you can find me at MikeRicksecker.com and HauntedRoadMedia.com. Of course, we have the Haunted Road Media YouTube channel, so that's YouTube.com/HauntedRoadMedia. The Haunted Road Media Paracon, which is June 1st in Alton, Illinois at Mineral Springs Hotel. You can find all that information also at HauntedRoadMedia.com and our Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/HauntedRoadMedia.
That is awesome. Mike, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show, especially talking about the topics that you do. I hope your adventures continue, my friend, for you and Shana, and you continue to have a lot of fun doing what you are doing, because you're one of the good guys in this field. There's a lot of people who are doing it wrong, but we could definitely say you're one of the ones who is actually doing it right, and that's what I really appreciate about your work.
Well, thanks, Dave. I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate you bringing me back on your show. I love your show. Well, it's got to be one of the best out there. Absolutely.
Thank you, my friend. Mike Ricksecker, everyone. Haunted Road Media. You could check him out at MikeRicksecker.com. I highly suggest you go check it on out. Coming up next, we got the SOR Newswire. I'm going to break down a funny story from my blog and the thought of the day. All coming up. Stay tuned as we round third and head for home. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thanks for coming along for the ride to kick off your brand new week. And of course, if you missed the majority of this show or any others, you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. We would really appreciate that. Our new website is under construction right now. It'll be good to go in the next couple of weeks here as we look to add some new added features for you. And on that note, we kick off the week with the weird, the wacky, the WTF in the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show. While our website is under construction, you can go to facebook.com/SOR Newswire to catch up on Captain Shirk's latest stories. And first, I'm going to tell you a little story from around SOR headquarters yesterday. So, of course, it's Easter, and I decide, that I'm going to go put some chocolates out in the front yard. And so I run to the store and I pick up some Easter egg goodies for the little guy and start placing them around the yard. I had about three or four bunnies, and Reese's peanut butter cups because he likes those. And then I bought some little Easter eggs to place around the yard. So as I'm going around the yard yesterday, I go and place the Reese's peanut butter cups by my neighbor's fence, then go over to, I got this boulder in my front yard. I go and place one of the Easter rabbits over there. And as I'm walking back, and no word of a lie, it's maybe 45, 50 seconds, I look over at the fence and I'm like, didn't I put the Reese's peanut butter cups there? They were gone. So, of course, in my tinfoil ways, here I am thinking, I got gnomes. I mean, there could be no other explanation than my bitterness towards the gnomes that I used to have is now coming to fruition, that they have taken the Reese's peanut butter cups as collateral, just like David Weatherly said, that they would want something in return. So I'm looking in my neighbor's yard trying to find the orange wrapper to the Reese's peanut butter cups. Nothing. I know their dog didn't come after me because that thing always barks at me. He's a big, mean dog. But I wanted to make sure because you don't want the dog eating the chocolate. That's not good for any pet. Nope, not in the neighbor's yard. So I figured this is strange. It's got to be the gnomes. Can't be anything else. Aliens, maybe? Sure, could be. Not something normal like rats. Whatever type of species is running around the ground. We don't have actually rats up here, but I just thought I would throw that in there. It's too cold up here for rats. So anyways, I go inside, I get little SOR. Oh, look, the Easter Bunny has come. Go find your bucket. He's all excited. And, of course, goes and gets his bucket. I go inside to make sure, still wondering where that Reese's peanut butter cup went. And that's when I see the culprit taking off with one of the bunnies. We got big ravens around here. Big ravens. So Mr. Raven thought it would be funny if he went on a little bit of an Easter egg hunt too. So I started yelling at him. I'm chasing him in my yard. Hey, drop that, dude. Of course, he can't understand me. I probably sound caw, caw, caw to him. And he takes off and takes that chocolate rabbit way up into my neighbor's backyard trees, which stand about 70, 80 feet tall. So now I know I got a raven thief who's looking for chocolates. So the little guy goes around and does his thing, gets all the Easter eggs and the rest of the bunnies. We're now down to 3 or 2 bunnies. He doesn't know the difference because he didn't know that they were actually there for him. I'm out $6 in chocolate. And I got this raven following us throughout the Easter egg hunt, wondering if he can scam some more. But no dice, Mr. Raven. The little guy picked everything up. No more chocolate for you. And I will be watching you next year because I'll have the dogs outside. The dogs don't like the ravens around here. Not at all. So, how do you think your brain's working? How about a game that is now going viral that trains your brain by showing you real-time scans of your mind at work, which is said to boost your mental skills in less than an hour? This bizarre game that can boost mental skills has been discovered by scientists. It relies on an effect called neurofeedback, where brain waves are monitored and positive reinforcement is given when a desired brain state is reached. I wonder how many points you get for frustration. Anyways, this study that they had a group of volunteers trying out for positive feedback, imagining hand movements, while another were given incorrect positive feedback. Participants were told that they were using correct areas of their brains when they imagined the movements had stronger brain waves in the corresponding area. This technique, though, it's kind of cool. It could pave the way to create better treatments for stroke and Parkinson's disease victims. Brazilian researchers found showing people real-time scans of their brain activity while completing a mental task boosted their brain power. They asked 36 healthy adults to imagine moving their left hand while keeping it still for half an hour. Half were shown a real-time display showing if they were activating the right parts of their brains, and others were given false readings as a placebo. Well, the effects were stunning. Stunning. Study author Dr. Theo Marins says, we knew that the brain has an amazing ability to adapt itself, but we were unsure that we could observe these changes so quickly. Understanding of how we can impact our brain wiring and functioning is the key to treat neurological disorders. Let's hope this works. Let's hope this is the start. That would be kind of cool. So, do you like ants? What if I could tell you that there are now zombie ants walking in the Amazon rainforest? So these ants are being hijacked by a parasitic fungi that now controls their every move. Researchers think this fungus found in tropical forests infects a foraging ant through spores that attach and penetrate the exoskeleton and slowly take over its behavior. As the infection advances, the enthralled ant is compelled to leave its nest for a more humid microclimate that's favorable to the fungus's growth. The ant is compelled to descend to a vantage point of about 10 inches off the ground, sink its jaws into a leaf vein on the north side of a plant, and wait for death. Ooh, this sounds scary. Meanwhile, the fungus feeds on its victim's innards until it's ready for the final stage. Several days after the ant has died, the fungus sends a fruity body out through the base of the ant's head, turning its shriveled corpse into a launch pad for which it can now jettison its spores and infect new ants. This is creepy stuff. As in zombie lore, there's an incubation period where infected ants appear perfectly normal and go about their business undetected by the rest of the colony. That's usually because social insects like ants usually have something called social immunity. Sick members get kicked out of the group to prevent the rest from getting sick too. Researchers say, we think the ants don't really have a mechanism to get rid of this disease. It is 100% lethal. The goal isn't to convert all the ants into the walking dead, though. The ecosystems stay balanced. Fungi have to keep a host population in check. In fact, only a few ants in a colony are infected at any given time. Still scary. So NASA's checking out a galactic jellyfish spotted swimming deep in space and dragging its sparkly tentacles through the cosmos. Actually, I'm looking at a picture of this. This actually looks really, really cool. It was noticed by the Hubble Space Telescope and Chandra X-ray Observatory, showing the galaxy being ripped to shreds as it passes through a galaxy cluster. The jellyfish galaxy, named ESO 137-001, because that's an attractive name, is a barred spiral galaxy, much like the Milky Way. It is located about 220 million light years from Earth in the southwestern constellation of Triangulum Australis, and is part of a cluster of galaxies known as Abell 3627. Its long tail of hot gases stretch across 260 light-years of space and is filled with newborn stars. Oh, isn't that cute? NASA officials said in a statement, the newly forming stars in the tail are mysterious because processes common in large groups of galaxies should make it difficult for new stars to emerge. That's because the space between galaxies in a cluster like Abell 3627 is filled with diffuse clouds of hot gas that can be detrimental to galaxies that pass through it. Interesting. Very interesting. Who snores out there? Well, an estimated 40% of adults in the United States snore, and men, you tend to outsnore women. Of course we do. Of course we do. And despite the myth that snoring is a sign of deep sleep, there's really no upside to it. According to Eric Voigt, an ear, nose, and throat doctor and sleep specialist at New York University Langone Health, says snoring really does not demonstrate anything good. You can have beautifully deep sleep in silent sleep. What's that like? Snoring is never great news, but it's often harmless other than the pain your sleeping partner may feel. In some cases, though, it's a sign of something serious. Snoring is basically a vibration of the tissues, according to Voigt. that the roof of the mouth and the vertical folds of tissue that surround the tonsils. A lot of factors can contribute to snoring. We can control some of the underlying triggers. For instance, drinking alcohol is linked to snoring. Alcohol tends to make tissues within our mouth swell a bit, and alcohol can change the quality of sleep. Your brain is sedated from it, so the combination can make you snore worse. So if you're a snorer, don't drink. Don't drink and snore. How about Washington State? They passed a bill on Friday that would allow residents to take part in a natural organic reduction of human remains, citing in part research that said carefully composted bodies could be safe for use in household gardens. Oh, well, let's get Aunt Mabel into the garden. Maybe our carrots will grow this year. Democratic Governor Jay Inslee's office on Friday said he did not review the final legislation. Inslee, who has announced he's running for president, has been active on Twitter since the Senate and House of Representatives passed Bill 5001, but did not mention the bill in any posts. Oh, my goodness. Really? Fertilizer? Human fertilizer? I don't know if I'm going there. And finally, this criminal in Florida just has no luck. No luck at all. So, here it is. Matthew Joseph Harris, 26 of Dade County, was trying to pretend that he was a deputy. Despite having red and blue lights on the grill of his 2007 white Chevrolet Trailblazer, a law enforcement light bar on top of the vehicle, and a realistic-looking airsoft pistol under the front passenger seat, well, what he didn't know was that while he was on his fake duty, one of the vehicles that he pulled over was actually a detective, an undercover cop. Harris was pulled over by a real deputy and had his vehicle searched where the fake gun and lights were found. This was after the detective, who is still nameless in this, called 911 while keeping Harris's patrol car in sight. It's unclear at this time why Harris committed this offense, and apparently he's done it a few times in the past. Harris was subsequently arrested for allegedly impersonating a law enforcement officer. Got an idea for this guy? How about before you started your crime spree, you went to school and became a cop? How would that have been? Who knows? Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we take a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, as we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Should we be focusing our paranormal studies on proving life after death? Why? I want to know. Lots of responses on this today. We'll rip through a few of them. Andrew, I know there is life after death. I have a personal relationship with a loved one who passed away. He is not one to be reckoned with. He voices his opinions, and it's his way or the highway. He is an awesome protector. He watches over me and some of my friends. One friend, he didn't feel safe letting her drive during the winter storm when her car wouldn't start. Another friend, he quieted the spirits in her family home when things got negative. He put his foot down. I wouldn't want to be on his spirit's bad side either. Reverend Keith, no. In my opinion, it's an impossible task. Any evidence that is presented can easily be disputed or manipulated. In addition, I can't conceive of how experiments could be duplicated. I would suggest just accepting life beyond death as an established fact. Judeo-Christian tradition has accepted this for at least 5,000 years. A shift needs to occur for what is life after death? And why is there life after death? And what does that mean for me? David, kind of problematic. It's like proving the existence of other minds. Philosophically problematic. I'm not sure it can be done. Evan, let's spend more time trying to contact alien civilizations. Now, this is a buddy of mine. He doesn't even believe in aliens. What's he doing? Kelly, well, is there life after death? I think maybe on another plane of existence, but not life. I say yes. Investigate what these entities or ghosts are and what they are here for and what do they want. LB, when you are ready, I can explain it all. As a practicing exorcist, it is important to understand and properly control the spirit world of both low and high vibrational energies, spirits, ETs, etc. Once you develop your own vibration to higher levels, living in joy is untouchable by lower vibrational energies. Steve, something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter and stepped aside. David Bowie. Dan, if life after death could be proven fact, I'd be worried that our lives now would have even less value. We're basically just a barcode paying taxes at this point. Heather, I'm not sure on investigating. They come to you if they need it. You know they will. Michael, 100% of ghosts agree that there is life after death. Just ask them. Otherwise, it's kind of like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall. That's the thought of the day for today. We want to say thank you to Captain Shirk, our news director, for putting together the SOR Newswire, which can be found at facebook.com/Spaced Out Radio. Very much appreciate you doing that. We also want to give a big shout out and thank you to Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media and MikeRicksecker.com for coming on the show, talking all things paranormal tonight. We really do appreciate it. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on Spreaker, Revolution Radio, and the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook and on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, wherever you may be. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for telling your friends, doing your part to make us bigger and better every single night. Because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Bigfoot, tomorrow night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Get that double B-foot rocking. Have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Good night.